What would people like that not accept? Quick side note, with this president violating the Constitution, going to war in Libya, going against Congress, not answering to Congress, the military personnel at this point have to make a decision whether to disobey this president's orders and being honorable to the Constitution, to their oath. By disobeying this president, you're honoring your constitutional oath, is what I'm saying. It's either that or go along with this president and violate your oath, violate the Constitution, and become complicit in the crimes that this administration is committing right now. At this point, the military over in Libya should not be following orders. Okay, this president has no congressional approval. He even violated the War Powers Act. And at this point, the military just has to honor their oath to the Constitution and say, no, we're not going to fly air support for Al-Qaeda in Libya. Unbelievable. I have a clip right here that I'd like to play, if I can get it. And this is how arrogant that this president is. He comes on a tape and he says, first of all, he says, come on, pull this up. He comes on and he says, I don't believe that we have violated the War Powers Act. This is Obama now. Which is a total lie. He's in total violation. So he comes on and again, just lies right to our face. Just right to our face. Liar. And he says, we don't believe we violated the War Powers Resolution, so I don't even have to get to the constitutional question, is what this guy said. I mean, can you believe the arrogance? Again with this president, Operation Gunrunner. Look it up on the internet. The ATF, under this president and this administration, allowed guns to be sold to Mexican gang cartels. You're hearing me right. This government, this administration, through the ATF, allowed guns to be sold to Mexican cartel members, 30,000 automatic rifles, so that they could lie, trace, and say so they could basically blame it on the Second Amendment. So they could trace the guns back after they're used in crimes. They could trace them back to the United States and blame Mexican violence on the Second Amendment. And they would have gotten away with it too, except for 15 good guys working for the ATF, 15 whistleblowers blew the whistle on it. And now you have congressional hearings where the head of the ATF is saying that Eric Holder, Attorney General, lied to Congress. The Attorney General lied to Congress. And a Border Patrol agent ended up dead. A sheriff's deputy ended up dead because of this scam that they tried to blame on the Second Amendment under this administration. See, what people have to understand is this is nothing more than a group of criminals. Criminals that have taken control of the White House. They are drug runners, okay? Everybody knows at this point that the CIA is running a global drug ring. Everybody knows it. It's no secret. It started coming out in Vietnam, even before that when the British were occupying Hong Kong. But Vietnam, in the 80s, the Iran-Contra deal, and now in Afghanistan, the fields of poppies being grown. Okay, that is a CIA-run heroin operation. That's why they shot Pat Tillman. Okay, he was going to come home and talk all about it. That's why he was murdered. Geraldo Rivera tape. Look it up online. Geraldo Rivera is there standing in a field of poppies, trying to BS his way, trying to BS the fact that American troops are guarding poppy fields in Afghanistan. Poppy used to make heroin. And they try and spin it and say, if these poor farmers don't meet their poppy quota, Al-Qaeda is going to come crack down on them, so we have to help them make sure they meet their quota, you see. And people are expected to swallow that. That's on the Geraldo Rivera interview. People are expected to buy that. Okay, you got to understand, this is a group of criminals Barack Obama is a CIA asset. That's why he has 2 or 3 different names. That's why he has a Connecticut Social Security number. He's never lived in Connecticut. That's why he doesn't have an authentic Hawaii birth certificate, because he's a phony. He's a CIA asset. You see, the CIA is run by these international bankers. Check out the Steven Seagal movie, Above the Law, and he says it right in the movie. Not that that's proof, but, people have known this for a long time. This group of bankers, the one that owns the Federal Reserve, the International Monetary Fund, they own the CIA. And, there was a bank, I want to say Goldman Sachs, but I'm not sure. There's a bank down along the border area of this country that just was caught laundering hundreds of millions of dollars in drug money, and it's like nothing happened to it. No punishment. But that's what's going on. We got a group of criminals that have taken over most of our government and taken over the White House. And now they're ordering our army to do unconstitutional things, ordering our army to murder people, is what it is. And it's unconstitutional, it's illegal that he's given these orders. But apparently these top generals are still going along with it. Hey, look, they got to make a decision. You can't honor your oath to the Constitution to defend it against all enemies, foreign and domestic, when we have a domestic enemy of the Constitution sitting in the Commander-in-Chief's chair. See, our military, our police, government officials, and others, we've all taken an oath to the Constitution, not to the President. But I'll tell you what, it is heating up in Congress. It looks like Congress is going to challenge this Libya thing. A lot of what you're hearing about with the budget not being approved, Congress is attempting to defund this Libya operation. Well, you don't hear that mentioned too much in the mainstream media. That's a big part of it, not just this so-called debt ceiling or whatever. That's not the main issue. They're trying to defund Libya, and that's why they can't get a bill through. So anyway, we're in phase 1 of this attack against the United States. This is the soft attack, the stealth attack. This is the part where the enemy is infiltrated as far as they can pretty much into this country and just using good Americans to do their dirty work. A lot of police, which are usually good guys by nature, being used to enforce a lot of socialist policies, a lot of policies that destroy families, that turn people into drooling, drug-using idiots. I said turn them into, yes. The police are the ones being used to enforce these things. And, again, it's like everybody thinks there's nothing they can do. We're going to get more into that later. Anyway, we're in phase 1, preparatory phase. Phase 2 is an actual foreign military invasion. I believe that's coming pretty quick. Let's take a look at China. China is our enemy. China is a communist nation. We were at war with China in Korea. That war is still officially going. We are simply in a ceasefire. So, when the ceasefire began in our war against the Chinese in Korea, that was in the late 50s, I believe. And then sometime in the 60s, I think, Richard Nixon, the president at the time, quote, normalized trading relations with China. And, what Nixon did, he maybe, I really don't think he did it on purpose. I think he was really stupid in hindsight. But what Nixon did as president was probably the worst any president's ever done. He normalized trade with China and put us into a position of competition against slave labor. So, how are you going to compete in a free market if your competition is using slave labor? You know what I mean? So right there, there's mistake number 1 Nixon made. Number 2 is Nixon got rid of the gold standard. That's why the value of the dollar's plummeted. But anyway, let's look at China. We were at war with them. We had a ceasefire. We're still at war with them. We're enemies with them. But then we normalized trade relations, so I guess we're friends with them too. They bought a lot of our bonds, basically lent us money, so I guess they're our friends, right? But they're also officially our enemy. Remember, that war is still going on. She's our friend, our enemy. Which one is it? Can you be both? The answer is no, you can't be both friends and enemies with somebody. And the Chinese know this, and the Chinese know that we are their enemy. I mean the communist Chinese, of course, not the good Chinese people. But the communist Chinese, they're under no illusion. They know that we are their enemy. People over here, though, have been fooled into thinking that China is not our enemy.